Good morning, everybody. Jack Listen with StartupTrading.com. It is 21st here of April, and we've just kind of actually come into some of the levels that I would be looking at here. I don't know if they're going to hold. We're in a heavy trend down, but it's going to start at 10:30. But I wanted to get on the mic as we came into this, and I'm going to go to the NASDAQ here. We are retesting the halfway back long from lows that we originally came out of, and this is going to be a second test. Not that means we're going to immediately turn around and rally from here, but it is going to be interesting to see, over the if this ends up getting more accumulation. But basically, panic low, potential pause on tariffs, lifts the market on that Wednesday, and then the next day came perfectly into this halfway back long and proceeded to make our way back to the top of the range, which we've failed from and have been in a short series since. There's been nothing but lower lows and lower highs since last week on Monday. Last week, obviously, shortened week, and we're back down here. And we could spend some time down here before reversing, but we're back down here on these lows. And what I want to do is just kind of map out some of these higher time frame short draws that we saw last week and where we potentially are inside of that sequence. So on Tuesday's high to that overnight low, and you could also argue that it was Monday's high. Both of those levels had sellers. Monday's high to low. Let's see here. All right. Monday's high to low was like basically front run, and then again front run technically in the Thursday night overnight session. So if we're just using the Tuesday high to low, you can see that traded and actually filled Wednesday, traded and actually filled on Thursday. That downside target is going to be right here basically. So once we get to this target, we're at a retest of the support. In fact, we've swept that low. I would not take any new shorts down here. Now, I don't really want to go long yet. I want to see some evidence of longs, but risk to reward, I would be on below these levels, really only looking for longs. This would be my discount zone here for the day, but we are still in a pretty aggressive short trend. But this halfway back long, we reacted off it so hard last time we traded it, and we're right back at it. What I'm going to want to look for out of this low is, a 5-minute swing mark, trend bar to the upside, inverse fair value gap, some indication that the trend has changed here. If that's getting back above like 18,000, and then begin looking for longs. Otherwise, I'm just not ready to short down here. I mean, even where we open, I was kind of we're gapping down a couple hundred points, I believe, but I didn't want to do anything inside of that. So I'm going to let this just continue to play out probably into lunch, or at least unless I see some indication of a bottom. If it continues to go lower into these targets, great. But once we do, I'm long biased at down here. The trend is lower, so I need to see the trend actually flip before I want to do anything. So just sitting on hands for now. And really the same plan for the S&P 500. We never got to that full halfway back short from Monday, just like the NASDAQ. Let me turn on the overnight session here. You could argue it got pretty close in the overnight session, but either way, even with that front run, we're basically coming back down into that profit target, 51.93s, and then a retest of that higher time frame halfway back long around 51.80s. Okay, so that's what I have here for these. I'm really just, once we get to these levels, looking for an indication of the bottom. I'm not treating them as limit orders that I'd go out and stick a limit on. These are levels that I want to see evidence of longs, and I'll point that out in the room when I do. But other than the index is here, gold, guys, continues. We had an extension trade on Thursday, not Friday, and we have run. Let me actually go here. we have run to that target, which was 100 points in gold. And that was from the daily anchor high of April 2nd to high. We pulled into our 38, also the midpoint of the prior day, and just straight up to targets here. We might run all the way up into that negative 61. There's a couple negative 61s here up at 34.80. I know. I think it was Holby I was talking to last week, and next target above us, and I was given this 34.80 area. That looks like where we're going to continue to go. And just one blip of some selling pressure on Thursday, and then I think the gold contract futures rolled straight back up to targets here in gold. But at this point in time, we're so far above all of these targets that, I mean, it would be a stretch for me, but you could draw Wednesday's high to high. I will draw that up and just pay attention to it. I'd be more interested if it trades tomorrow and not really today, but I'm going to set alert at that 34.07. But gold continues to be a one-sided. Of course, there's always pullbacks in every market. There's technically two sides every market, but there's only one side, in my opinion, worth trading right now in gold, and that's the long side. Up 3% today after, it continues to have 2-3% moves every single week to the upside without the indexes are having that to the up and downside. So that's what I got here for GC 34.07. And then for oil, the full halfway back long is at 61.44s. And that I'm also looking at the short at 62.97. I want to pay attention to Thursday's low 2 weeks ago. I'm going to swing over and set an alert at that 61.44 and see if we can get down there. But we swept the prior day's low here, and then immediately bid out of it. So that very well could be the low of the day, just because when you sweep a low and then you can see that ATR. Let's see, ATR down, ATR back up here on the hourly chart. Oops, that is the wrong kind of alert. But anyway, that's what I have here for the indexes. I'm going to flip back to the indexes. I'll jump on the Discord squawk and begin looking for those potential bottoming signals here for the NQ and ES, and then look to take along in those markets. So I'll talk to you guys in the Discord and share my levels there.